Here we are, back across a mirrored universe, diving deep into the dark realms of space and the final frontier, and we are in the most safest place in space, the Captain's Quadrant. And joining me as always, Ensign Jason. So happy to have you here with us as we run
happy
down.
to report for duty.
Excellent, sir. At ease. We are happy to run down Season 2, Episode 2 of Picard called Penance. Man, what a fantastic episode. I'm going to give you a quick summary. Picard finds himself transported to an alien alternate timeline in the year 2400, where he must face one last trial orchestrated by his longtime nemesis, Q. Oh, man. Jason, let me tell you, this is probably... The opening was such a great cliffhanger, and it was such an amazing return to the series. This episode took it to that next level, and it kept the pace.
Without question. Question. It was it certainly really feels, it's new and it's fresh, but for me it really feels like the Star Trek that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really on point, and obviously we'll get into it, but it's just, it doesn't seem to have fallen off a cliff here. It keeps climbing in quality in what we're seeing.
Yeah, this is definitely growing the beard, as you said.
Yes.
So let's jump right into it. Let's go with the ups and downs of the episode.
Okay, we got it now. Now, just want the audience, you have to bear with us. If you're watching the video, this is a brand new show. I'm going to be building. I figured if we're going to do segments, we need to have a graphic. We've got to have a graphic, right?
Yeah.
Everyone do it. So let's check out the graphic for this film. It's the only one I've made so far because I've been super lazy. And you may see I've been in a bit of trouble in 10 forward, got myself into a bit of trouble. So I've got a Band-Aid over my nose at the moment. But we'll talk about that later, Captain. Here's the image.
Yes, the ups and downs. There they are.
So when we talk about ups and downs, that's what it's going to look like.
All right. Love it.
Captain. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, since I'm a huge Deep Space Nine guy, all the Deep Space Nine Easter eggs were the big ups for this episode for me.
Yes.
That's number one.
Yes.
Early
on, too.
Right in the beginning, Q's walking through a Predator trophy room, so to speak, with all the various skulls. So there's a nod to Predator to me. Anyway, and I thought that was a big up on the episode. And the whole Q segment, the whole entire interaction was such a big up for me.
Yes.
Q telling him he's going through this trial again, and the trial never ends.
Yeah, it's the same trial, I think.
Yes, it's the same. And the fact that there's something going on with Q is also pretty interesting.
Yeah, look, that was the big thing I got out of that scene was Q is not... I mean, he's Q as we know. Absolutely. Right. But there is something going on because he seemed to be very concerned about the current situation.
Right.
Like the way his body language and the way he was... Yeah, something's bothering him about this current scenario. So it's... but yeah, that trophy room. Can I just talk about a couple of my favorite things?
Absolutely. Yes, this is the whole
let's
point.
talk about the weapons. I mean, I love seeing a couple of Bajoran weapons in the background.
Yes,
and the assault rifles and that. But the skulls, it's all about the skulls, right?
Yeah, right.
And obviously, Gold to Cop. Like him to get a shout out and to see the Cardassian skull. And like,
that was amazing.
But then they double it up with
Mark
General. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which was incredible. But my favorite skull out of all of that was the Ferengi skull.
Really?
You know why?
Why?
Because just under that skull was the staff which the Grand Negus has.
Oh,
so that was the Grand Negus.
Wow, that's a good catch. Which
I absolutely was thrilled with. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. But
I found it very interesting. Speaking of the skulls, that Sarek was the skull.
Yes. And the story behind how he got killed.
Yeah.
Decapitated on the steps in front of his mother, like in front of his wife and Spock.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible. It's very
dark,
eerie,
man.
very dark.
Very dark.
This is the darkest I've ever seen Star Trek. Now, the Mirror Universe episodes in all of the Mirror Universe spectrum, so to speak, have always been dark, but this one really took it a level further. They went to a place I never expected.
They did. But I thought it was a mirror episode, the mirror universe. I have believed that since I watched it. But I read an article this morning.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's an alternate timeline.
Yes.
So, but when I watched the episode, we're doing a mirror universe. We've never really done that in Next Generation.
Yeah, Next Gen was I was just gonna say Next Gen is the only Star Trek to not do a mirror universe.
Yeah. So I was like, but I just read this morning. It is not. It's an alternative timeline.
Alternative time. Something that the Borg Queen did when she popped up into that realm. Alternated the universe from the first episode. I also found it interesting that Q, a big up on this episode, that Q is referenced the fact that he's still a synthetic, even in this timeline. Yeah. And I was wondering, I was like, did they like kind of brush that aside? Like, never mind about that point.
Yeah, no, we've got to explain that bit away.
yeah. They were like, no, we're keeping that. So I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of and as we go along into the episode, but there's a lot of fascist imagery.
Yes.
I mean, like, it's a very dark, deep, dystopian, totalitarian universe.
The whole planet Earth has a shield around it.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, which we've
had that.
We didn't get all the answers for. So
no, we didn't. We didn't.
Yeah.
We did not get, and we don't know why.
I have my theories, but yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of theories floating around. I read a couple, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I do want to say, I believe in the other show that's running now, Discovery, that series Earth has a shield around it too. Ooh. So I'm wondering if that's a correlation. Ooh. So that's going to be interesting.
Did you hear mention too when they were talking about the Romulan homeworld and Vulcan homeworld? They referenced it as Navarre.
Yes, I caught that too.
Yeah, which is again Discovery.
Yeah.
When they're shot forward into the future,
right?
They've gone back and they call it Navarre.
Reunification.
Yeah, reunification.
So that's a lot of deep. Like if you're really into Next Generation, Navarre, the reunification, and Sarek, that really put a lot to me because there were so many episodes that were Sarek related for Next Generation, and that's where he ultimately passed in the show, both the actor and the character, and was in the Next Generation. So for me, there was just so much I was just so heavily invested emotionally into this episode. So this was...
Yeah, we should move on from that trophy room, but there's a lot of emotional weight about those names.
Right.
And that's why it worked too, because each character they were mentioning, we have had...
A lot.
Anyone who follows Trek has had, many hours with. We connected with these characters, and so when he's saying those names, it's hitting you right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my god!
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah. So we find out that the new president of Earth is Anka instead of 7 of 9, because the Borg actually got their asses handed to them in this universe.
So she never 7 of 9 was never assimilated.
Right. So she's the president, and her right hand is her husband, who's with her at every. Notice that he was by her side at every point in the episode. He never really left her side.
They've definitely got trust issues in that relationship.
Yeah. There's something going on there. It's like, all right, dude, let me breathe.
How cool was she though? That straight away. That's what I love about 7 by 9, because she's so smart to figure it out so quickly.
Yeah.
Pain receptors, audio receptors, straight away she's figured out something is not right.
And then she did in the wind, she's doing equations.
Yeah.
Up on it was
with the lipstick.
Phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Another up for me on this episode, moving a little forward, was Girardi. Getting the whole cast together was great. Every segment by which they got together was amazing to me as well. Yeah. Having the Romulan come together with Raffi, I thought was fantastic, and she is totally that. Elnor is definitely Space Legolas is definitely her surrogate son, without a doubt. I just feel I have this motherly connection with her over him. Yeah. That it's just great, and they did such a good job putting the emotional connection of that.
The episode, the first three-quarters of the episode is very much getting the band back together, isn't it?
Right.
To quote the great Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
Getting the band back together. So, and they handled it so well.
Right.
Because we get to see all our main characters in the situation they've found themselves in. And in each little vignette, almost, little story that they're going through, it's discovery of where am I, what's going on, and figuring it out.
Right.
Because basically all of them figure it out in their own kind of way. You know, I love that. I absolutely love
that. It's great.
Yeah.
But with all ups comes downs. And
okay.
My big down for this one is going to be very strange, but the half Borg queen.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was very weird seeing the half Borg queen. I get why they have her disembodied, but I felt like it wasn't necessary to have her in this like node. I get it. I understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
But the fact that happened that way was just kind of weird, and having her interact like she's also part of the team, so to speak, that kind of threw me off. That was
I actually didn't have a problem with it because in the beginning, like when I saw her, the node thing, but I put it down to the fact that they're just a barbaric universe where she's just a pawn to show off to the crowd because it's what do they call day? Extraction Day or Elimination Day or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, Extermination Day.
Extermination Day. So she's just being used for that. That's probably why she's at that. But I'll tell you what I did love about the Borg Queen. She's very stoic and serious and all that. And then when they get her off that ship, onto that ship, she has this smile.
She's plotting something.
Wicked, yes.
Yeah,
like everything is working the way that she needs it to work in this particular situation. So she's a plot device, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, it has to be. But it just threw me off because the Borg Queen that you saw in the last episode had this no face, completely covered, but had the same tentacles, so to speak, coming out of her to start the assimilation process. And this brings me to one of the points I wanted to make earlier: is this new Borg Queen Picard's mother? Because
she knows him because she called him Locutus.
Well, no, that the Borg Queen from the current episode from Penance, yes, but the one from the last episode, the last thing she says to Picard was "Picard, look up," which is the same thing that they talked about that flashback earlier on in this.
I hadn't thought about that, but if his mother was assimilated at some point, that would be a real giant plot twist.
Yeah,
for me anyway. I do think though that Borg that we saw last episode is a futuristic, highly advanced. Like I reckon they're on the collapse of extinction. That future version is an attempt to try to change the past to save their future.
Right, and
that's what I think.
So it's essentially they took first contact again.
Yeah,
and
but it's kind of opposite. Yeah, they flipped the switch on it.
Right,
I don't mind. I really don't mind that if that's the way they're going to go.
Right.
Look, there just seems to be such a good energy about the first couple of episodes.
Right.
Though, Captain, I really am liking that it feels, even though it finished on a cliffhanger, which was an odd cliffhanger, mind you.
Right.
Talk about it down. I didn't like the cliffhanger.
You didn't like the cliffhanger? Okay, good.
No, it just seemed unnecessary and cheap.
Yeah.
But it does, even though there was a cliffhanger, they do feel like standalone episodes. And you know me, I keep going on about how I like episodic television.
Right.
Star Trek. So I do like that, even though it's giant, it's a piece of a giant, story.
Right.
I feel like these episodes have a beginning, middle, and end anyway. And they just seem far more Star Trek to me. Maybe because I'm an old fool and I can't accept the new.
No. This is what we. But I
do. I don't know. And Q, just to see Q back.
Yeah.
I don't know. The way that's handled, like he feels far more. Did you find with Q in this episode? I think he was the most threatening and dangerous Q we've seen since probably Encounter at Farpoint, like the first episode.
Right.
Because the Q we get used to is very mischievous, very Loki-like in a way. He's a trickster. He's all that. So, but this one, it just stuck with me that he's really concerned.
Right.
Like the stakes must be so much higher that Picard and the audience can even imagine at this point.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm wondering is this Q also altered because of this incident that the Borg Queen opened up? Is that why we have
highly likely?
It could be. It could be. Or is this the same Q, but at the end of his road, maybe?
Yeah. Well, as we get introduced to him, he's still the same Q we remember. I think they did a good de-aging job on him.
Right.
I still love that bit where he flips and
and he's
turns into the old
older.
but,
Yeah.
So and you're right. It's a fairly basic plot-wise episode, isn't it? It's just like, okay, we find out where all the other characters are. They figure out where they're at. They all got to do what they got to do to come back together.
Right.
And that's really the episode.
Yeah.
Essentially.
It was very simplistic, but very well executed episode. And I'm really looking forward to where this show is going to go. There's so many new mysteries, and I'm hoping to goodness that we get the Q Guinan interaction that we missed out on.
Oh yeah,
for the rest of the Next Generation
the fans,
series.
If they really wanted a showdown between them, and we get to see Guinan's actual, because she's still a mysterious figure in what she's capable of.
Yeah.
So if we somehow in this series got revealed the actual real power that she has, what a treat that would be.
Oh my goodness, it would be.
Yeah,
it would be amazing.
Wonderful performances in this too. We're talking about 7 of 9, and a lot of concerns I had about season 1 was the change in her character. But I gotta say, I'm getting my mind changed here. I'm really loving what they're doing with her character.
I mean, all characters have to grow, otherwise you.
I suppose, So. And it felt this episode that it was a little less swashbuckling for 7 of 9. There was a lot less action. It was more focused on what she has to do in this situation. So her intelligence really shone through, and I think I love that as well.
Yeah.
The
pace and action of this episode was very good, even though it was more story driven than action, physical action. We did get I do like the another up that I forgot to mention was the switch on Elnor when he was getting beat up by the
when she basically goes, all right, Elnor,
all right, we're good, and then it's handcuffed, took out that whole squad. So good. And
Space Legolas is really cool.
Yeah, he's
got a lot more to do in this season. So
I think so.
What about the end of that? I mean, it's obviously spoiler territory. You're not going to be watching the show unless you know we're going to be going deep dives.
Right.
Do you think they'd kill him off?
No.
It's but a flesh
shot.
wound.
Yeah, it's a flesh wound. They've got replicators. They've had them for years. That's going to be an easy fix. He'll be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be an easy fix.
They can't kill him off. It's too important.
So they make reference to a Watcher or a Guardian right at the end. I can't quite remember now. But they make reference that they're going to go see someone.
Right.
Who do you think that is?
Oh, when you're dealing with Q, there are other people that know that entity, Q.
Yeah.
So I would assume it's somebody that we'd have to go back into the Next Gen episodes to figure out exactly who.
I put a dark horse bet here.
Okay.
My dark horse bet is Geordie LaForge.
Oh, that's very good. Okay.
Because we know he's in the series at some point.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good bet.
And what an asset he would be because of, if you go back and look at the Next Gen episodes, he was able to scientifically sometimes get around some of Q's escapades.
Yes.
So he'd be, and I wouldn't be surprised if Q wanted Geordie LaForge in on the situation because I would think Q would respect him at this point.
Yeah.
Because he's been able to thwart a few things. And you don't have Data, of course.
Right, no Data.
Which I would have loved that because I always loved those interactions between Data and
he
Q.
had such a hard time dealing with Data.
Yeah. He couldn't get his mind around. It really struggled with him. So
Right.
Yeah, I reckon it is definitely. I think you are right there. Even if it's not Geordie LaForge, it's a classic character of some sort.
Yep.
It could be from any of the franchises.
Yeah, there's so much heavy mention of Deep Space Nine,
Yeah, a lot of love.
A lot of love. I appreciate it so much, but
Mm.
it would be very interesting. I know he wouldn't do this, but it would be very interesting if we got the Avery Brooks.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, he hasn't done any work since 2001. He
No,
hasn't
that's
acted
because
since 2001.
right, his own personal choice. He was very
Yeah.
upset the fact that teachers have the most important position in the world, teaching the youth of the nations,
Yeah.
and don't get paid or don't get any recognition. So he
Yeah.
left acting to pursue a way of getting them their just cause.
Yeah.
So that's why he hasn't done anything in
Very
so long.
noble cause.
Yeah, very
So-
noble cause. Very noble cause. But it would be amazing if anything could bring
just
him
to
out.
have
Would be
him-
this.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah. Just when they mentioned General Cisco, you know.
Yeah, that really.
You know,
was
I
like,
should have the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's going like that on the couch.
Yeah.
Every
yeah.
Star Trek fan did that. Like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
my god!
Be
you know?
Cold to cot. Yeah. Come on.
It's just, it was very, you know, and I would love to see a Deep Space Nine character in the show.
That would be great. I mean,
Really would love that because it feels like a show that's not talked about enough in Star Trek world. I
yeah.
feel like we really, the real Star Trek fans absolutely adore Deep Space Nine. It's their favorite
Right.
show. But the general public, I don't think are aware enough how
No.
amazing that show was. So
Yeah.
anytime they talk about it, it's great. But yeah, it was an episode where, not a lot happened, but so much happened.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes
That's
any
that's-
sense.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. So, no, loved it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here at the Captain's Quadrant. I'm Captain Joe Dove, and joining me as always is Jason, our favorite beloved ensign. And we are just going to have one question, one ask of you. If you could like, share, and subscribe to our channel, we'd really appreciate it. The more likes and comments below what you felt about the episode too, because the more likes, comments, and shares that we get, the greater we can spread our reach across the quadrant. Yes, find us everywhere in space and time. So until next week, I'll see you right here in the Captain's Quadrant.
See you later, guys.